Hello everyone, welcome to Fischler Fest 2015 Haunted Toy Edition. I took some pictures last night with the lighting as it was, with the black lights on, so you could kind of get a feeling for the ambiance. However, that is not very conducive to taking good video, so it's the morning after Halloween. I've replaced the black lights with the original fluorescence again, so that when I show you around, you can actually see some of the stuff that I'm talking about. So, with no further ado, let's meet the cast of characters. Here's Fufa from Yo Gabba Gabba.
My name is Fufa.
That's what I just said. This is Giggles. Giggles is actually supposed to flop around on the floor using a long tail, but I couldn't have him flopping around here or else he'd kind of mess things up, so sorry buddy, had to cut your tail short. That's Beelzebub. Meet my cousin Spinny. Peekaboo.
Peekaboo.
And everybody's favorite, Baby Cakes. Baby Cakes actually does 3 different noises, but if you ask me, the laughter is by far the creepiest. So as you've probably gathered, the idea here is that each of these toys is just kind of sitting here minding their own business, and all of a sudden they just start making noise or moving or apparently being haunted by some demonic toy spirit without apparent control. So where's the control? Well, it used to be in these buttons. These were all toys that you press their arm or your foot or whatever, and they start doing their thing. But as you can see, that doesn't work anymore, and that is because I have cut that connection and taken it over. So this is the wire that used to go to this guy's foot. Doesn't tickle anymore, does it? And that is going back to a controller, which is managing the show from back of house, as we call it in the biz, and I will show that to you in a little bit. Back to Mr. Giggles here. I'll show you a little bit better exactly what's going on in back of these guys. The towel here is carefully folded to obscure the connections. This is the same kind of wiring that you just saw on Peekaboo. This is the wire pair that used to go to his nose, I think, and this is the connection that goes back to my controller, and I've got a whole cable here. This is a sensor cable that is carefully hidden underneath the blanket and goes back around to the controller in the back. Before I forget, I got one last character here. He doesn't say anything or move, but I think he might just be the scariest guy I've got. This is Thumpy, the bear with the heart. You may not be able to see it too well here, but in the dark you can see that his chest glows on and off, and he's got a little sound device in the back. I think this is supposed to be for little babies. You put them in the crib and it sounds like a heartbeat. Well, I turn that on and give him a little glowing in his chest. Looks like his heart is beating. Yeah, I know, it's pretty funny. Anyway, let's look at what this is. So there's a little sound device for the heart. And it's got a little LED in there. Pretty effective. One last look at the doll wiring here. I think some of you may have seen some pictures that I took of this guy. Here's a little bit closer look at what's going on. I mentioned that Baby Cakes here does 3 different sounds. He actually does 5, but I wired him for 3. Got 2 wires with those 3 connections in them. This is where the external wiring ties into the original doll wiring. The tricky part about this was the laugh that I played for you earlier. In order to get that one, I had to solder directly to this control board. Definitely got in some practice with my soldering skills on this one. Alright, for your enjoyment, I'm going to start ripping this place down piece by piece so that you can see what went into it. In the video from last night, you may have noticed the silhouette of a bedroom window in the center of the room. I think this is one of the more ambitious kind of set decorations that I've tried to incorporate into one of these. I'm not sure quite how effective it was or whether the payoff was worth it, but it was interesting to put together. This is an old 8x4 art frame that I built with Amber a while ago. Never really got used for art purposes, so it became a little craft item for this. Drilled some holes in it, cut out the window slots, hung it from the ceiling, attached some sticks and some tin foil to make whatever that is, and shone a light through it. The reason this wound up being so much more work than I anticipated is rather than just being able to put up a light bulb and shine it through the cutout here, I wound up having to make this box to shield off the light from the rest of the back of the garage here. With just a light bulb up there, it was too bright and I had too many shadows that you could see from the front of the room. So a couple extra blankets and this box blocked off the light, so it was just shining through this window. And then a fan for extra effect. And this is the brains of the operation. These are the cables that go out to each of our different critters. Comes back to a relay board. The relay board acts in the same way as the buttons that are in the hands and feet of the different toys, except instead of pressing hands and feet, the wires come back here and the relays close, and that does the same thing as the button press. And this is wired via 8 individual wires back to the Arduino. I have an Arduino Mega controller. I had to upgrade from my previous Arduino Uno because that did not have enough outputs. This runs a show that waits between 30 and 60 seconds and then randomly triggers one of the toys. It will trigger all 8 in a random order before it cycles back and triggers all 8 again in a different random order. So everybody gets a turn, but you never know who's going to come up next. Makes it fun. So that's it. That's the tour. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me and the gang for a few minutes while we show off our hard work. It was a lot of fun to do this Halloween. We didn't scare quite as many kids as we had intended. Traffic was pretty light this Halloween, but it was a lot of fun to put together. I enjoyed getting to spend time with you guys. Maybe I'll see you next Halloween. It's been fun. Sweet dreams.